welcome to my channel, Fred Makes Things, and a non-Sewers Club related sewing video for you. These do happen on my channel. I'd like to make them happen more, but it's just with the way that, you know, scheduling goes, we don't see a lot of like unrelated videos lately. So yeah, we're talking Quilt As You Go, the Charlotte Tote by June Taylor. So I'm going to do this video in 4 parts, like I always do my review videos in. Part 1 is discussing what the project is, why I decided to try it out, inspiration, that kind of idea. Part 2 is showing you the project itself. Part 3 is pros, cons, and user error. And then part 4 will be final thoughts and sign off. Quickly, I say this all the time now. I don't know where this quirk has come from, but before we get going, I just want to say hello to all of the new subscribers that have joined. Welcome. Hello to the OGs as well, anybody in between. I'm so happy you are all here. Every single one of you commenting or liking or just clicking on this video always makes me just so happy. I'm such a small channel. I'm steadily growing, but I am still quite a small channel, and I appreciate every single one of you. So hello if you've subscribed, hello if this is your first video, hello if you've been lurking for a little time, hello to everyone. Thank you for coming to hang out with me. Now, yeah, let's just do part 1. All those things I said, inspiration and reasons for making this and all that fun stuff. So, I don't even remember when I bought these. I bought these a long time ago. I would say almost a year ago. I got these off of Missouri Star Quilt Company. I ordered 3 different types of Quilt As You Go project. I ordered some fish-shaped pet food placemats. I did that in October of 2023. Here's a link to that video if you want to go and check it out. And when I got those, I also got this Charlotte tote and another tote bag that is upstairs. And I've been curious about Quilt As You Go. I was in Joann Fabrics and they had some and it said as easy as select and cut fabrics, attach backing fabric, and then sew by number. And guess what? It's not as easy as just that. We'll just say that right away. So yeah, I got this one. This one I think is the most complicated of the 3 patterns that I bought. Here's a photo of the other pattern that I have upstairs. I think it would be simpler to try, but I bought that unicorn fabric from a couple of months ago that I really wanted to turn into this bag. So I made this one first. But that was my kind of inspiration. I saw it at Joann Fabrics. I saw how expensive it was, and I said, I'm not there yet. But I was on Missouri Star Quilt Company's website buying probably fabric for my temperature quilt, and I saw that these guys were on sale, and so I picked up a couple. And today we're talking the Charlotte tote. So that's my inspiration. The other thing is that I purchased also from Missouri Star Quilt Company beautiful unicorn fabric. You will see it in a minute, and I wanted to turn that into like this specific kind of panel in the tote. And then to kind of work around that. So I got the unicorn fabric, and then I got ordered some matching fabric for that, and then I pulled out from my stash some of my stash builder fabrics as well. I'll show those all to you when I'm showing you the quilt. And so it was kind of like this world of 2 things coming together to finally make me want to make it. So what came with this in here in this project is you get this thing, right? Your little cover page. You get your instructions. You have pretty detailed instructions on how to work. This one here, you have 2 different design options. You've got option A, which are solid panels, and then you have option B, which is kind of like more of the scrappy panels. What's cool is they tell you exactly how much of each fabric that you're going to need depending on which bag you decide to make. So I ignored all of that and kind of just pieced things together as I went along. You also got in here the numbered batting, the pre-printed batting, and this is what makes the patterns so special, is that you have pre-printed batting that goes with it. I'll take pictures of the Charlotte or the other tote upstairs and insert them so you can see what the pre-printed batting looks like. So you have the pre-printed batting, and the idea is that you sew them on according to your number. Design A, it's pretty straightforward. There's only 3 panels you sew together. Design B, there's technically 32 pieces of fabric that you sew together, so you'd have a lot more cutting with design B than design A. So that's where all of this comes into play, like how much you need for each. So you have the pattern, you have the pre-printed batting, and they also give you the webbing for your handles. Everything else you provide yourself. Now in the instructions too, or the supplies, they do recommend a few different things. They want you to get a starch. I didn't use a starch. They wanted you to use a magic seam wand, June Taylor, of course, right? I didn't have that, but I do have this roller thing. And that's because they don't want you applying heat directly to your batting. So I have that roller thing for that. I bought this roller thing specifically to work with these kinds of projects. They wanted a basting spray or temporary fabric glue stick. I did end up buying a basting spray, and you needed that so that you could basically glue your lining fabric onto your pre-printed batting first, and then as you're sewing you kind of quilt all of that down. So I did have to get a few extra things that I didn't think that I needed. I did end up buying like this rolling thing in replace of an iron, and I got the basting spray. So yeah, let's take a look at the project part 2 so that we can continue talking about what I did. Now the screen is too small for the whole project to be shown to you, so I'll show you pieces. Here's my one side with the unicorn on it. Right, like how pretty is she? Here's a photo of it all together so you can see. Then here's the other side. Different unicorn. Here's a picture of this side, all I don't know, puffed up or something, so you can see all the coloring and detailing in it. Then we've got the bottom. The bottom is pretty simple and straightforward. And we've got our sides. So side 1. Side 2. And then we've got the interior. And I'll give you a better photo of the interior as well. It's a pretty big bag. So when I said, like, for the quilting, we'll turn this bag inside out. You can see like all of these lines here. I don't know if you can see on camera very well, but there's all of these lines here that hold the bag in place, and those are all quilted right from your top side. So you're stitching through all of your layers of fabric. The bottom is a really good example. Like you can see all of the lines from the quilting, right? And all of that. It's pre-cut, so you know that your bag is going to come together really well because it's part of the printing process. I did bind the interior with this purple binding this is all that I have left of it now. This is from my temperature quilt from last year. They wanted you to leave the binding open, and then they said you could serge it or overlock it or zigzag it to finish the ends, but I had this binding, I thought it worked, so I just did it. This fabric inside is called like Ditzy Dots or something like that, in pink or fuchsia, something. The name is on the screen for you. I'll have it linked in the description box as well. It's from Missouri Star Quilt Company. This purple binding is from last year, also Missouri Star Quilt Company. These exterior fabrics, this unicorn is, again, Missouri Star Quilt Company. This matching butterfly floral, you can't see my hand on that, that's in the middle of the strap and on this side here, also Missouri Star Quilt Company. This lovely pinky kind of peach color is from Sewers Club. This was from the very first stash builder I ever had. This dark purple is from Sewers Club as well. Another stash builder that I got. And then this triangle teal fabric here is from Joanne Fabrics from actually a very long time ago. I finally got to use it in a project. So yeah, this is what the project looks like. You do have your two straps. The straps are done very interesting. You have two layers. You have your back layer, which was batting that you covered in this one fabric. And then your fronting fabric is your webbing covered in a different one. And what's really cool is they had you sandwich them together in an interesting way. So with your backing fabric, do I have anything down here? All right, so say that this here is your backing or this here is your backing batting, right? And this is your backing fabric, right? So your pink polka dot one. What they wanted you to do is that this is cut to just the size of your fabric. Black on black was probably not the best choice. But anyway, so your backing fabric was like this, and then you wrapped it around so that your you wanted to glue this in place. So that your backing fabric was wrapped around, and you had a seam running down the middle of your fabric like this, right? And then you took your webbing fabric, right? Your webbing, you wrapped it in fabric in the same manner so that your raw edges are on the inside, and then you put it on top like so, and then you sewed them together like that. I have no idea if that helped or not. So if you look on the back of this is solid. You don't have any seams, any joins, anything like that. And the front of your fabric is also solid. You don't have any seams or joins, well, except for where you might have had to join your fabric together, but it's all nice and clean. And I really like that. Let's talk, I think that's it for construction. We'll talk pros, cons, and user error. Pro, I like the size of this bag. I like the fabric and the colors that I chose for it. I'm pretty okay with the way that this project came together, with how in-depth the steps are, how the assembly comes together, how they make everything make sense. Cons. It's not a beginner-friendly project. You kind of have to know a little bit about quilting and construction and things like that before you get started. You also have to have extra items that you have to spend more money on. Like, these are already pricey kits to begin with only getting the batting, the instructions, and the webbing. But then you also have to pay for like a basting spray if you don't already have one, which I didn't. And you needed some sort of tool to help you press your seams open because they didn't want you using an iron to protect your batting. So that's con number one. Con number two is that, and I know why, but you have like a big open interior, but you had nowhere, like if you wanted to use this as like a going to the farmer's market or something big, you had nowhere to, like, you had no interior pockets, and that's just based on the design. Like design 1 or design A, you could get away with it, right? Because you don't have any messing, you're not messing with any of your interior panel, right? Like you're not quilting everything together. But B, which is what I did, right? You're piecing all of your pieces together, right, in strips. And so because I had this large piece here, I could easily throw in a pocket on the inside, so I could get away with it. But for design B, you wouldn't be able to do that. I kind of just did my own thing, kind of following the layout, the numbers, but also kind of just doing as my heart desires. So that's con number 2. Con number 3, I didn't like how they said you could leave your raw edges exposed in here. I know I still got threads I need to snip, but like leaving your raw edges exposed in here, like this is extra fabric and extra binding and extra time that I hadn't planned on requiring, but I did. I sewed in my Fred Makes Things tag. It's a little lopsided, but I'm keeping this bag for myself, so it doesn't really matter. And con 4 is that it took forever. So I started this project before my little kitten came into my life. If you want to see all about that, here's a link to Monday's video. But I started it, getting everything cut. It took so long to cut. I had to pick all of the colors that I wanted, which is a me thing. But it took so long to cut. Then to assemble all of these, again, it took a while. I thought I was really good in my dimensions, but I wasn't when I ended up putting everything together. So I had some troubles with that, right? We'll talk more in user error, but like I've got this piece here that I added like a section to. Down here, I added a whole section to on this side as well, so that everything came together nicely. And I had thought that I'd cut everything out properly, but it turns out that I didn't. So you have to be really precise in your cuts, and overcut is fine, but undercutting is not. I like how these straps came together, but they were a little bit fussy to work with. We'll talk more about that in user error. And yeah, my final con for this project is that even though it's like a hefty batting, it doesn't keep its shape really well. Like in the photo, you see that they're like these big, like rectangular kind of square totes. And when I have this standing on its own, here's a photo, it doesn't hold its shape very well. And I'd hope that it had a little bit more structure to it. In one of my previous videos, I forgot structural. That whole concept I like grasped for the whole video, but now I can remember it. Structural. So those are my cons. Now let's talk user error. There's a bit. So you needed to cut your batting out perfectly, and you needed to wrap it really, really well, and I kind of blew through the process. So you can kind of see on my straps that my batting is not perfect. My webbing looks nice, but my batting is not perfect. It's not sewn down as nicely as it could be, and that is 100% on me. The other thing too, like I mentioned, I didn't cut my pieces as well as I could have, so I've got some weird things like this here. And then as I was actually pulling this together, I saw right down here, I missed catching part of my fabric right here, so I'm gonna have to go in and sew that down, tack that down. This side here, right, more fabric that needed to be caught in, sewn up. But I think the rest is okay. I had to redo my interior pocket a few times to make it sit properly, but that was me adding something in, so I can't fault them for that. But yeah, so would I make this big again? Probably. Would I buy a pre-printed pattern for it? Probably not. I probably just want to look up the dimensions and how to cut a bag of this size and then just wing it myself with my own batting. Probably use like a thicker batting or like a more stable, like a foam that I hate, but that foam that we use sometimes in Sewers Club, I'd use that instead. Something to give this more shape and more body. Like when I saw the photos, I was looking for that kind of structural thing, something that I could have open and throw things into. And this is something more that I can like carry on my shoulder when I'm like at the market or something like that. I also would have planned on taking more time to make this, because I thought, oh, this batting is already pre-printed and pre-printed. I had to cut it out, which also took forever. But because this pattern is pre-printed and you cut it out before you start making the project, it would go by faster. But it took me probably 16 hours to complete, 20 hours to complete, with some of the issues that I was having. I ended up sewing it over 4 days, cutting and sewing and finishing. I ended up doing this over 4 days, interspersed with kitten care and life things. So I didn't get this finished until Monday night, and I'm talking about it on Tuesday night. Like it's 8 o'clock and I'm filming this video. Yeah. So I like it. I love how the fabric came together. I love how the colors work together. I love the general shape and design of this bag. I just don't know if I like pre-printed batting. Like in my mind, pre-printed batting should mean easier, and it wasn't. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I've got to go now and get supper going because it's 8 o'clock. So, do you like this bag? Do you like the colors that I chose? Have you done pre-printed batting before, and what are your thoughts on it? I didn't mind it with the fish placemats, so I was surprised that I was so annoyed with it with this one. Did you like the colors that I used, the fabric, all of that, the detailing? Let me know down in the comments section below. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see more things. We have the continuation of our cross stitch project on Friday. Monday is an unboxing of some sort. I'm uncertain on which it's going to be. Wednesday is going to be hopefully our Sewers Club project unboxing. Friday again, continuation. The week after that, I'm not sure what Monday's going to be. Wednesday's going to be talking about my monthly quilt update, and then we go on from there. So if any of that is of any interest to you, do think about subscribing. And yeah, I think I'm going to go. Like the video if you've made it to the end. Like the video if you don't mind the rambling thoughts. I wish this one was more coherent, but I don't know. Some days you are able to put together a clear and precise video, some days you are not. And because this is Tuesday night and I need to get it ready for Wednesday morning, this is what we have. So with all of that being said, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching, for sticking with me through this video, and I will talk with you again soon. Bye!